I'm Jordan Hill.
And this is our presentation on how technology-based resources can impact the teaching and learning of English. So we're focusing mainly on the iPad. So multimodal. So what is multimodal? So like a proper definition is it focuses on the design of discourse by investigating the contributions of specific semiotic resources. So in short term, that means the combination of two or more modes. So a mode is can be described as written language, spoken language, images, audio, gestures, and there's different types as well. So you've got multimodal text, so you can look at picture books, graphic novels and comics, and then you've also got digital versions, so you've got film, animation, audio, music, that sort of thing.
Right, so as we said, the main thing which we are focusing on is iPads and the use of educational apps within it. So the iPad was first introduced on the 3rd of April 2010, and the most recent form of it came out in March 27, 2018. It has endless potentials and functions, including videos, photos, and also social media. The iPad has been described as the most successful tablet in today's market and has received a great deal of attention for its potential as a resource for education. A very good use for it is that it is easy to use, and this is very good for many years because even reception people can use it all the way up to year 6. The device has many opportunities for use in the classroom. It can be used by all ages to improve skills such as vocabulary, spelling and writing. It is very versatile due to its many functions and has been described and is utilised in many schools and other educational institutes to improve teaching and learning in the environment. According to Nations 2018, Apple has sold 360 million iPads since its original debut. And of that 360 million, Apple has reported that of January 2012, 1.5 million has been distributed into the educational industry.
Yeah, so some current information on iPads in an education environment. So the study of technology in education isn't that new in the sense of they've always kind of, like, people have always kind of looked at the use of technology and how it can enhance learning. But because iPads are so new, they're only like 8 years old, then there isn't tons of research on it, but there's the stuff we've got. It says so pre-2010, 73% of students were using no technology when learning English, but then you've got studies in 2014 which show iPads being used more to facilitate student learning collaboratively, and that links back to they're using
Okay, so the main study which we focused on was a longitudinal study, and it took place in a girls' secondary school. It took over place in 3 years, and the project was called Prototype 21st Century Class. The school was initially put into 4 classes in 2011 before scaling up to half the school in 2013. And in the study, empirical data through lesson observation was triangulated with perception studies and group interviews from both teachers and the students. This allowed both viewpoints to be obtained and to find out whether iPads actually impacted on children's learning. And the findings from this was that the iPad was associated with more learner engagement and collaboration. It was also found that children with the iPads performed better than their peers in the year-end examinations. So these are some examples of educational apps. The first one is Dictionary, and this is designed for the early years, and it is basically a word building game. So children have to create as many words as possible using the letters that are given underneath here, and they have to try and create as many words as they can using the 7 letters. They don't have to be 7 letters, it can be like 3 or 4. And once the words are completed, they can tap on it to get the definition of it. It gives children a chance to use problem-solving skills at the same time, as it is a basic level of anagram which challenges children to build their vocabulary and spelling skills. A con of it is 7-letter words can sometimes be far too complicated for children which are very young, such as 2. So it needs to be variated and moderated within the lesson. The next example is Bookworm, and this is a vocabulary building word search game. And the aim of the game is to create the longest word possible from joining up the letters in the bottom here. You can go down, up, diagonal, and the aim of the game is to build the longest word possible, which will create the highest score, and this will ultimately feed the character Lex, which is the worm book. Pro of this is that it is very easy to understand, and it the idea is easy to grasp. It uses pictures, noises, and makes it interesting for children. However, a con of this is that because the levels don't variate, once all the levels complete, they stay the same. So children might learn that the certain patterns give them the rewards with the points, and they might not actually associate that with the words. And also that it doesn't read the actual word out, so they might not actually understand what it actually says. Then the last game which you've got here is called Reading Aid Spelling Lights. So this is suitable for children 5 to 10, and it aims to improve children's spelling and vocabulary skills. Yeah, there's 10 mini games in there. One of them, for example, in the middle there, is it has 3 boxes, and it's got a combination of different starters, middles, and ends to a word, and the children have to combine these letters to make all of the words possible within a certain time. Pro is that it can be used by older children who need extra support with their learning, and because there are 10 mini games, it can be used for many varieties, and it is mainly used to improve their literacy skills, such as encoding, proofreading, compound words, meaning syllables, etc. However, a con of this is that it can be slightly immature for people who are older than 10 and may not find it interesting or appealing towards them.
So the positives of iPad in the classroom, so there are some benefits. So the main one is that it can help teachers through multimedia learning. So as I mentioned earlier about being multimodal, iPads have a range of apps that can be like comic books, magazines, but these aren't just ones you buy in the shop, you know, they've got a sound to them, so they're explaining exactly what's going on to the children. So if they're struggling with their reading, they can use images and words at the same time to kind of develop that. Another one is, a big one is preparing students for the future. As you all know, like, technology is becoming more and more important in everyday life, and if technology is implemented in primary school to the children, then they'll become more technologically savvy for the future. But there are some drawbacks. So one of those is a lack of widespread research into the actual impact of iPads in the classroom. There are many people quite divided on this issue. Some saying there's children spending too much screen time already, but then some saying they can enhance learning for children that are struggling and don't just learn from reading and writing. They can also be seen as distracting as well. If you've got children that maybe get off task quite easily, they might, you know, start messing around in them, and it kind of is a drawback, if you see what I mean. And not all teachers might be familiar with this, so although a lot of people, everyone knows what an iPad is, or most people do, older teachers might not know how to use these, and if children, and you can't assume that all children know how to use them as well. So if they're coming in and start to use iPads, they have to learn how to use it first before they can even start playing the apps. So it's just another thing to learn for them, really. The national curriculum as well, it doesn't explicitly mention how to use technology. The only one it really says is use technology purposefully to create, organise, store, manipulate and retrieve digital content. It doesn't really mention the use of technology in teaching and how to actually implement it. Although some MPs have, that are such as Edmunds said, children spend too much time using this technology already. But then it's mainly put down to the teachers and their discretion on whether the children are ready to use the iPads or not. There isn't that, because of how new they are, as I said already, there isn't that much research on it, so there hasn't really been a decisive conclusion made whether they should be pushed forward or not. So conclusively, there are a range of arguments for and against use of iPads in schools. Personally, I'm for them. I think they really help children that struggle, and they can help develop reading and writing with multimodal texts. And yeah, they're more likely to motivate children, as a lot of children are familiar with this technology.
However, there are also some drawbacks from using iPads and some weaknesses towards them. The main one is that children will get distracted and use them to just play games, and it is very hard for the teacher to go around the class and maintain a good learning environment for every single student to make sure that they're on task. There's also a lack of concrete evidence from a variety of bodies. Although there has been research to prove that iPads are good in a learning environment, the findings cannot be generalised to everyone, as some children learn in different ways and iPads may be irrelevant to some people. Although there is research, that has been conducted there isn't enough to weigh up the iPads have a major effect on the children's learning, especially now that children are becoming technologically savvy at a younger age.
Okay.
Thank you very much.